Hey everyone, how's it going? Breezy here, and welcome back to Murder Most Misfortunate. Let's continue to examine the place here and try and find out who the murderer is before the timer runs out. Let's go to the queen bedroom.
In the queen bedroom, I found my old social acquaintance, the Comtessa. To say that I trusted her was going much too far. But I had certainly known her longer than anyone else there that evening. Besides that, I knew her to have an ear for gossip and an eye for detail. If there was anyone who could tell me a little more about the cast of our little drama, it was her.
There you are, Misfortune, darling. I must say this whole affair is just dreadful, isn't it?
Tragic. Truly tragic.
Prince Titanico was an eccentric man, but he knew how to put on a show. Sadly, this is rather more than I expected, I'm afraid.
Are we really sure he didn't plan the whole thing after all? You know, have the last laugh, go out with a bang, that sort of thing.
Have the last laugh.
Oh no, my dear, I don't think so. The prince, by all accounts, was far too fond of himself for that.
Who would do that? Go out with a bang. I mean,
Pity. It would have made for such a delicious story. Not to mention no longer having to worry about a possible killer being on the loose.
Quite so.
okay, let's examine the room first. Now, if I looked at everything, I don't think I've looked at everything in this room. Or maybe I haven't looked at anything in this room. Ooh,
On a small table near the center of the room sat a little book, the kind one could write in. Could it be a diary? And by reading it, might I steal a forbidden glimpse into the inner life of some member of the once mighty Lee family? But to my great disappointment, I found the pages empty. Ah, well, I suppose that hoping to discover the defiant last words of the infamous Lanica Lee written in blood really would have been a bit much to ask for.
yeah, I guess so. Okay, ooh.
I couldn't make out the lady in the ruined portrait, but I assumed it must be some grand old dame of the Lee household. Why had she been left behind, I wondered? Had the rest of the family simply not liked her? Mind you, if I ever had to sell one of my estates, I'd rather fancy leaving behind as many self-portraits as I could spare. You know, just so that the new owners would feel like I was keeping an eye on them.
Yeah, it's like somebody scratched the... scrabbled that thing all to hell. Anything over here I can look at? Wow, jeez. Look at this.
A set of old vases sat on the dresser. Could there possibly still be anything in them? The neck of the nearest vase was too narrow for me to see anything inside at a glance. I suppose I could have stuck my hand in to feel around, but... there could easily be a mouse or a spider lurking in there. No, that would be a much more suitable job for Miss Charisse and those small, dainty hands of hers, I think.
Oh, I hate reaching into stuff. No, there might be a spider there, I'm telling you. Okay, am I just gonna circle the whole room here? Anything else? Because I'm wasting time here. The bed?
I'd helpfully noted the garish red color of the bed the first time we visited the room. But this time, something looked off.
Ooh.
Near the top of the bed, the color looked darker than before. I reached beneath the pillows, and sure enough, it was a knife with a distinctively wavy blade. A blade that was covered with blood. I'd wager a good portion of my last husband's life insurance that the blood belonged to Prince Titanico himself. So, there hadn't been just one knife, but two. But which one had stabbed the prince?
Yeah.
Or had they both? My discovery seemed to have led to more questions than answers, but one way or another, I was certain that this was a critical piece in the puzzle of the prince's death.
I say, darling, what have you got there?
Well, it seems to be a knife. I found it here under the pillow.
A knife? Goodness, do you think it could be the murder weapon?
I'm not sure. but it very well could be. Let's just leave it here, shall we? I'm sure the police will want to know about it later, but for now, it will be our little secret.
Very well, dear. I do so love a good secret.
Yeah, I don't think they were using it for carving pumpkins. Okay, so a second knife. Interesting. Now, I've only got 41 minutes until the police show up, so let's stop examining this doctor, Contessa. Come, Tessa. About the prince in... Whoa, where was she when there we go.
You know, it was really quite shocking. One minute the prince was playing host and telling ghost stories, and next thing you know, we all come running and he's dead on the floor.
Oh, indeed. That was a surprise of a most unpleasant nature.
Where were you when you heard the news? It was that one-eyed shambler in the ill-fitting coat who found me in the other bedroom. Did he find you first?
No. In fact, I was in here. And it was that young man with a decidedly orangish hue who brought me the news.
Our oh-so-helpful Horatio. He must have been done fixing the lights then.
Yes, they'd only just come on. I must say, he was in quite a state, with those robes of his flapping about everywhere. I expect I would have laughed if he didn't look so distressed.
Alas, such a wasted opportunity.
Mind you, he didn't tell me exactly what the matter was at first. I'm not sure he knew himself. He only said that something had happened, and we had to gather everyone together right away.
And our two little darlings. You found them on the way back then?
Precisely. Just as we were coming back down to the main floor.
Well, it's good we've got that all straightened up. With so much running about the house, it's enough to make one's head spin trying to sort it all out.
Oh my word, yes! I used to get quite bad headaches myself, especially back when I was with my second husband. Mind you, those only ever seemed to come on when he was telling golfing stories.
My dear, I know exactly what you mean.
Oh, that was fun. About the prince.
Darling, I have a little confession to make. Although I'd met our good host, well, ex-host, a number of times, I'm afraid I never really knew him, if you understand what I mean.
I hardly expect you're the only one in that situation, my dear. The prince had this maddening habit of talking all the time and yet somehow still saying very little.
So was he really a prince then? Do you know?
These days, title really does not mean what it once did. After all, how many do you have now?
Oh, let me see. At least 3. All by marriage, of course. Sometimes it can be hard to keep track.
Just so. No doubt our late prince could make some claim or another. But these days, who can't? Just about anyone can claim a tenuous connection to some great old family that was thought lost in the Revolution. And it's so hard to prove them wrong. And as long as there isn't money involved, no one much cares to try.
So he called himself a prince, and that's about all anyone knew. He wasn't married or anything, was he?
Good heavens, I hope not. You did see him doting all over our sweet little Charisse, didn't you?
Come now, Comtessa. You and I both know that's proof of nothing.
So cruel, but so true. Still, if he was ever married, I never heard of it.
And you do have such a knack for hearing interesting things, darling. If there was anything to hear, I dare say you would have heard it.
Oh, modesty forbids.
In any case, it would seem our late prince was quite the enigma then. At least I can feel glad that I wasn't the only one in the dark.
Okay, Charisse.
I don't know about you, but I can't shake the impression that Miss Charisse was, for lack of a better term, the guest of honor this evening. What do you know about her?
Oh, the poor girl. She's an only child, and her parents passed away just recently.
Yes, I feel for her. An enormous inheritance, and all of a sudden no one around to tell her how to spend it. The family, they were industrialists, were they not?
That's right, though by the end they were into pretty much everything: manufacturing, banking, real estate, and more. They were a bit close-lipped about their net worth, but certainly one of the richest private families in the empire.
And if I recall correctly, they were a new money family, too. Money-grubbing upstarts. I think I heard them called at court from time to time.
Did you really? I don't doubt it, of course. My word, that place can be just so beastly sometimes.
Actually, I thought that was rather tame. You should hear the things they call me.
Oh yes, they can say such horrid things about widows like us. Sometime you and I will have to swap stories of the more creative ones. When the circumstances are more pleasant, of course.
Of course.
Okay, let's finish off this one. Oh, it's locked. Interesting. I can't do it in the print yet.
So how did you know Prince Titanico then? I met him at an art auction myself. How about you?
Oh, I hardly knew him at all, really. He was an acquaintance of my late husband's. They played cards together sometimes at his club, or so I understand.
I see. Is this the first time you've seen him then, since your husband passed away?
Well, he came to the funeral, but other than that, yes. Yes, it is.
Don't you think it's a little odd that he would invite you out to a rather small event like this, when your husband was the one he actually knew?
He said he thought I would appreciate the historical nature of the estate, and he's not wrong on that count. Perhaps he may have also thought I'd be a little lonely, being recently widowed and all. That part's nonsense, of course. A woman in my position gets rather used to it. But it's sweet of the dear boy to try.
Yes, indeed. One does get used to it. Husbands come and go. It's the way of the world, really.
Too true.
Okay, let's get out of here because, alright. Let's leave because I've only got 33 minutes. Smoking, let's check out smoking room.
I returned to what the prince had called the proverbial smoke-filled room. It struck me that this would be the perfect place to call everyone and reveal the truth to this mystery. All in good time, of course.
The truth.
In the meantime, I thought it wise to take another look around while I still had the room to myself.
Okay, let's see. Go this way. What can I look at? Oh,
On one side of the room, there was a wine rack filled with dusty old bottles. Most were empty, but a few still contained small amounts of what must have been very well-aged red wine. At least, I hoped it was just wine. With a family like the Lees, one could never be quite sure. Perhaps I should take a bottle with me to check it later, just in case.
sure. Might be blood in there. Anything else in here that I can look at? Let's see. Chair. Oh, how about that?
The large crystal globe in the cabinet was impossible to miss. It seemed to be filled with a swirling red mist of some kind, and as I stared into it, I thought for a moment that I could see a pair of malevolent eyes. Or was it just one, staring back?
Creepy.
But surely it must have just been my reflection, in combination with the dim light.
Probably. You can see things when you got dim light, you know. Ooh, what's else? Okay, anything else we got here? Is that there another red book? Okay, I think we're probably done then, because I don't think there's anything else. The chair? Statue.
The strange pose of the statue in the corner of the room rather reminded me of my third husband. You see, the last time I saw the dear old boy, he was in the process of losing his balance and tumbling down the whole stairs.
Oh, I wonder how that happened.
terrible tragedy, really. They had to have those stairs completely replaced just to get the blood out.
Oh, you poor thing. Okay, anything else? Ooh.
That cabinet had a few things of interest in it, if I remember correctly. Let's take a closer look. In the cabinet, there was an odd little doll that seemed to be made out of straw. Was it some kind of voodoo doll? I tried making those a time or two myself, although, to my great dismay, they never seemed to actually work quite right.
Yeah, it sucks when they don't work right. Voodoo doll. Is that all that's in there? Alright, let's leave. You know what? Yeah, let's get out of here. What? Gather, I know who the killer is. Really? Ooh, so I'll go back to the smoking room later. I've got 2 knives, and how can I know who the killer is? Okay, let's go back to the dining hall. Is anybody in here? I got 2. Maybe I do need to gather everybody. Should I do it? Oh, here we go. The announcement again. Oh, here.
Horatio, dear, are you certain you won't tell me about this special announcement that the prince was going to make?
Of course. My lips are sealed.
Oh, ho-hum. Then I suppose I'll just have to tell you about it.
What?
You... what?
It had to do with this, didn't it?
Ooh, nothing left is the candle or the ring?
Alakazam, how did you get that?
The ring.
I rather wish I knew that myself. But for now, I think it's best to stay on track while the wizard is still wonderstruck. Tut-tut, my dear. Magicians aren't the only ones who get to keep secrets. The important thing is what the prince planned to do with it. It was his, wasn't it?
Well, yes. I mean, it was. Well, it wasn't exactly for him, you see, yet... oh dear.
No need to worry, darling. I already know exactly what it was for.
Ooh, he was going to sell it. He was going to propose to Sharice. He was going to propose to me. Ooh, he was going to propose to her.
It's simple, really. He was going to propose to Sharice.
And what makes you say that?
Come now, my dear. It doesn't take a fortune teller to see that he'd been doing everything in his power to sweep her off her feet. Add to that a diamond ring sized for her slender little fingers, and the story all but writes itself.
It is true that he was quite, taken with her, yes. I mean, who wouldn't be, really?
Oh, yes. Sweet, demure, pliable, and very, very rich. Just the type for the prince, I'm sure.
You're not going to tell Miss Sharice about this, are you? Surely it would only make things even harder for her.
No, at least not yet. Like I said, sometimes I like to have a secret or two up my sleeve myself. But confirming that I was right about the prince's intent certainly does paint this mystery in a whole new light.
Okay, everyone, I'm going to end this episode right here because it's almost 20-minute long video. I don't want to go too long, and I need to process what evidence I found so far. See if I can get an idea of who may have killed our guest. Not sure at the moment. I found another knife, the ring. So, not sure. I got a few ideas, but not quite sure yet. So we'll pick up in the next episode. Hopefully I'll be able to end the mystery, find out who the killer was. Thank you so much for watching. And yeah, have a nice rest of your evening, day, morning, wherever you're at. And I'll see you for the next video. Bye.